Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this more kind of podcast style approach to a particular topic that has been a very huge topic in the veterinary community for a few years now. But we are now seeing the tail end, no pun intended, of a variety of issues that the veterinary community has brought up for a while. And this is about the sudden upsurge of interest and outroar from a variety of different groups on both sides of the debate about XL bullies. Now, for context, my name is Fabian Rivers. I am a small animal and exotics vet and have been working with this particular with people on this particular topic for a few years now. I actually was on a documentary called Britain's Puppy Boom, Counting the Cost, and that's on iPlayer. It was on BBC Three. It's on BBC One, and the centre of that particular documentary was to focus the attentions of not just the veterinary community but society as a whole to look into the increased interest in certain breeds, and also the increased fashion of buying puppies, and also to look at some of the side effects of that increased interest and fashion of buying puppies that we saw across the board during lockdown and during the pandemic, effectively. And what we saw was a lot worse than we originally planned, and there was some illicit work going on, and fertility clinics. One particular fertility clinic was shown to be showing some pretty abhorrent standards, and some laws seem to have been broken during that documentary as well. And as a result, there was quite a upsurge in interest with regards to that particular topic, and amongst the many during lockdown. And as a result of that, there were a huge amount of warnings that went to the government from ourselves and a variety of different, eminent bodies, BVA, Dogs Trust, so on and so forth. And there was some loose commitment of some of the changes that we hope to see in the near future. But it's something that we've seen in the veterinary community, especially if you're a companion animal vet, but it's something that's also been in the media a lot of. As a result of this, as we probably had anticipated collectively, is that if you get puppies and you don't do the due diligence, and there are certain things attached to XL bullies in particular, cropped ears, no real commitment to understanding where these puppies will go past the point of being bred like machines, effectively, that we anticipated that there'll be some behavioural issues that would manifest. And despite XL bullies being, a variety of different quote-unquote breeds, the micro bully, the pocket bully, and so on and so forth, the XL bully, and all its derivatives, there has been an increase in notable and media-covered attacks by XL bullies in the last year or so. And so what's prompted is that we had Rishi Sunak just under a week ago now, I believe, effectively came on TV and said that he vowed by the end of next year to ban the XL bully, and that, quote unquote, they were a danger to communities. Just for context and some factual context, in the last year, 2022, there were 10 deaths as a result of dog bites. And since 22,000 out of control dogs causing injury in last year, and that's up from 16,000 in 2018. So a 6,000 increase in dog bites causing injury, or out of control dogs causing injury. Sweller Braverman, Home Sec, previously said that XL bullies were a quote-unquote lethal danger, and that she was seeking guidance from the relevant bodies that be about having them banned or something to that effect. And so we in the veterinary community who have seen and have called out for a variety of different changes. One of the things of the documentary was to put pressure on DEFRA and so on and so forth to discuss how we approach some of the concerns going forward with not just XL bullies but fertility clinics, illicit breeding, and some of the kind of nastier sides of that world. And effectively what we're seeing is a manifestation of some of those concerns from a few years ago. And it's been very difficult, basically. And I'm sure many of you who are tuning in are interested, have probably seen firsthand or heard of secondhand and thirdhand of, an increase in quote unquote behaviourally challenging dogs in practice. And, by all means, it takes a cursory look online to see that actually we are seeing some pretty high profile, pretty nasty cases of attacks by dogs. And, it's not a pretty picture at the moment. There has been, just to continue on with a bit of an intro, there has been some pushback, as you can imagine, given their recent popularity from bully carers or caregivers, as I like to call them. And this has also been mirrored by a quote-unquote coalition of veterinary and animal-related bodies, the RSPCA, the BVA, Dogs Trust, and so on and so forth. That made it very clear that it's very difficult. We have a long history of supporting this. It's very difficult to say that a breed, as a rule of thumb, is actually at play as being an issue, and that there are some pretty major questions about how we say what qualifies as this breed, what doesn't qualify as this breed, and what is the line, because we don't have a breed standard currently for a bully breed, and that actually that lots and lots of dogs which are not looked after in a suitable fashion given the right support could be quote unquote dangerous, and that actually we need to look at that culture a little bit more. And so we've got these kind of bit of a partisan or bipartisan approach to this particular issue, and that's why it's kind of got a lot of traction in the veterinary community at the moment. And very recently, 4 days ago actually, there was a bit of a protest. Hundreds of protesters, quote unquote, marched in London very recently to share their general rejection of this this new statement that's brought out by Rishi Sunak. And it's been an interesting week for this particular topic. So we're going to try and get into it a little bit over the next 45 minutes, hour or so, just so we can get to the depths of it.